Sun bleeding down on a hard red line, dust on my boots and a mess in my mind. I dropped to one knee in the dead man's heat, shook like a sinner with no more feet. My shadow slipped long on that dirt-packed ground, stretching out thin like it wanted out of town. Before I hit face first into the sand, that damn thing stood up like a full-grown man. I muttered, hell, you're leaving too, but it didn't turn back, it just walked on through. And the farther it went on that endless road, the heavier it burned every sin I owed. I spat blood once, wiped sweat again, growled, if you lead, don't you dare pretend. But the shadow kept moving like it knew the route, like it knew something I was scared to doubt. When darkness walks ahead of me, I chase it till I leave, breath for breath, creed for creed. If sin's a horse that carried me here, then I'll ride that bastard without the fear. My past ain't gone, it just moved up the road, put me through every debt I owe. When the night takes shape and refuses to plead, I chase it down hard till I'm the one it needs. I've loved wild women with a wildfire kiss, held a Bible wrong, prayed for the wrong bliss. I cut good men down over pride and gin, told God I'd stop, then sinned again. Tonight I tied a strip of cloth around my hand, soaked it in whiskey like a one-man stand, pressed it to my heart in a makeshift right, whispered, if I bleed again, let it bleed me right. My shadow paws fall down that line, turned its head like it read my spine, and in a voice low as graveyard dirt, I heard it say, walk, rise, hurt. I told it, if you're me, then quit running fast, to grab back something colder than my past. A man don't lead by standing still. You wanna live, then show your will. When darkness walks ahead of me, I chase it till I leave, step by step, creed by creed. If guilt's the chain that holds me tight, I'll drag that weight till it learns my fight. My shadow ain't leaving, it's clearing the way, daring me to stand in the burn of day. When the path gets mean and the demons feed, I chase the dark heart till I'm the one they heed. 'Cause truth cuts deep and the night cuts through, but I ain't dying before I cut back too. When darkness walks ahead of me, I rise until I leave. And the dawn breaks cold on the man I still can be. Walked out of life on a cold blue night, smoke on his coat, heart burned dry. Lit one fire just to watch it breathe, said that's the last damn flame that'll follow me. He turned his back on the crackling glow, boots hitting dirt like a man laying low. But every time he tried to pick up speed, a spark shot forward where his foot would be. The ember landed sharp in the dust, ready to send stubborn as trust. He growled, hell no, quit trailing me, but the fire only answered silently. He spat once hard, cursed the sky, said if you want me dead, then let me die. But that ember flared like it heard the plea, glow brighter than a man should ever see. Some fires don't follow you, they block your escape. Stand in your path like a holy mistake. Burn where you're headed, not where you've been. Daring you to face the ghost in your skin. Heat around slow, breath thick with grit, fist clenching tight like he finally meant it. Some flames ain't chasing you just to keep pace. They rise in your way till you fight them face to face. He'd run from a woman with wildfire eyes, from a vow he broke in a preacher's life, from a blood-red debt carved into bone, from the man he was when he stood alone. On the night he nailed, drew a line in the dirt, pressed his thumb in the ash till it hurt, smeared across his chest like a sinner's mark, said if I fight again, let it start in the dark. The ember hissed like it understood, brightening up like a spark of good. He heard it whisper in the crack and spit, you ain't done, boy, this world still wants you to hit. He laughed once, rough, no hint of fear, said if you're my trial, then drag me here. But that ember pulsed like a serpent's drum, saying run if you want, I ain't the one who runs on. Some fires don't follow you, they block your escape. God in the road like a judgment shape. Burning ahead, not behind your name. Pushing you hard towards your rightful flame. He rose to his feet with a steady breath, facing down heat like he'd stared down death. Some flames test men till they stop the break, till they quit running and decide what they'll make. So we walk back slow toward the fire he lit, not to die in it, but to live with it. Some fires don't chase, they stand firm and wait till the man they choose finally chooses his fate. Buried my brother neath the cold great dawn, hands shaking hard, but I kept pushing on. Packed that dirt tight with a rust-worn spade, said rest here pal, I'll pay what we made. Sun crawled up slow on the dead man's hill, heat on my back, guilt colder still. When I turned to leave, heart heavy as stone, I felt that stare like I wasn't alone. Damn skull rose up through the morning dust, mouth mouth cracked wide like a whispered trust. Facing the sun like a judge my name. Told me stand up straight, quit dying in shame. I'm a lawyer trying to guide me, brother, but a voice inside snarl, no rise like no other. Cause some ghosts don't lead you through your pain. They watch how you shoulder every chain. The dead don't aim you. They judge how you ride. They stare through your crime with those hollow eyes. Your past stands up from the dirt you laid. You better rise stronger than the man you made. I felt that skull burn a hole through my lies. The dead don't aim you. They judge how you ride. I've run from women with wildfire hearts. Drank clean through every promise I'd start. Stood in churches leaning on my shame, begging the Lord to forget my name. I tied a blood so red around my wrist, whispered a note through a whiskey mist. If I rise today, let it cut me true. Let every old sin sharpen what I'll do. The skull leaned up like it heard me swear. Sunlight shining through its vacant glare. It didn't bless my fight. Just watched like judgment dressed in light. I growled out loud, you ain't dragging me back. But the silence hit heavy like a railroad track. Then a wind blew through with a voice so thin. You fall once more, you won't rise again. The dead don't aim you. They judge how you ride. They stand where you broke. Watch your will revive. If your shame crawls up from the ground you chose, you face it head on till the truth exposes. I rose that day with fire in my eyes. The dead don't aim you. They judge how you ride. I walk back down with my jaw set tight, carrying guilt, but carrying it right. And the skull stayed still, but it damned me wise. I ain't afraid of falling as long as I rise. Lean back, hard on that red hot stone, chest pounding like a rusted drum. Shirt split open where the blade sank in, breath short, teeth tight, lips numb. That cut starts slow and crawling shut like a mean thing thinking on his own. Every throb saying, boy, you old, like a barroom debt carved in bone. You taste iron mixed with dust, spit once just to stay alive. Knuckles crack and fingers slip, but hell, your grit refuses to die. Then a voice inside your ribs growls low, rough like a locked-in sin. You ain't dying, you paying, son. Now breathe and pull yourself in. You grit out low while you cut me deep, but grace don't answer men who sleep. Cross on your chain burns hot like coal gun by your sideways down your soul. If your wound closes with pain, it wants your will to close with strength. Every breath a long damn mile, every heartbeat runs a lane. You ain't stitched pretty, ain't patched clean. You're a sinner built to fight. You're the scar that pulled itself together in the middle of for that dive off County 9. Crooked cross hanging on the wall, her eyes sharp like shattered light. When you chose anger over her call, whiskey spilling, voices swearing, dirty bills on a Bible page. You sold your name for a fist of flame, devil stamped it with his rage. Later on in a crack back room, mirror splitting you in two. One side showing the man she held, one side staring straight through you. Then that one spoke up again, colder than the breath of death. I ain't closing just to save you, I'm closing so you'll feel what's left. You strike a match against your chest, say if I burn my best. Devil laughs in the smoke you blow, God stays quiet, cold as snow. If your wound closes with pain, it wants your will to close with strain. So you carve that truth in bone, walking mile by mile and length by length. You ain't patched leather, you're a law, you wrote in flesh tonight. You're the scar that pulled itself together when the world turned off its light. You're the sin that stood its ground, you're the death that didn't flee. Wear your shame like barbed out grace, like a crown you didn't plead. And if the burn stays high when the bleeding stops, there's the price, a cold bright spark of reckoning, the kind that cuts and still feels right. I sat alone about 3 a.m. Porch light dying, sky half dead, cold steel laying on my wrist, whispering truths I never said. My hand was shaking like a sinner, caught breath in like a stolen prayer. One push more and I'd be gone, but hell, I froze right then and there. The blade slipped loose from my weak-ass grip, kissed the floor, then slid on down. Stopped up right by my boot tip, pointing forward like a damn steel crown. When crawling through them busted boards, sounded almost like a choice. Boy, death ain't here to take you, living's what deserves your voice. I muttered low, Lord, you watching me fail. Shadows fight back, walk your trail. Cross on my neck felt hot as blame. Room smelled thick with rust and shame. If the blade don't spare you, boy, challenging your feet to stand, saying pain ain't what will kill you, it's denying who the hell you am. I ain't falling to the dirt tonight, I ain't running from the cost. I'm the man who almost died and still refuse to be the lost. If the knife points forward here, then forward's where I go, with my sins hanging off my shoulders and my blood still running slow. Ain't no clean redemption left, just to walk through fire and noise. Cause the blade don't choose your death, son, it forces you to choose your voice. I picked that knife up by the spine, held it steady, checked my breath. Saw my face in the still reflection, half a man, half close to death. Heard my mama's ghost behind me say, you break again, I break with you. Heard my old lover whisper back, if you quit now, my love dies too. So I pressed the blade against my palm, let one slow drop stain the floor. A ritual for the coward in me, don't live in me no more. Blood spread thin like sunrise fire, sharp and holy down my skin. I whisper to the shadow standing, this time I walk, I don't give in. The shadow answered cold and low, then carry what you carve tonight, and let the hurt teach what you know. I smeared that blood across my chest, marked myself like a vow, confess. devil laughed in the smoke I blew. God stayed quiet, but he stayed true. If the blade don't spare you, boy, challenging your feet to stand, telling you the roughest road was carved for your calloused hands. I ain't dying for my failures, I'll live loud enough to pay, walking straight into the dawn with every ghost I didn't betray. If the knife points forward hell, then forward's where I'm bound, with a kind of grit you only earn when you've kissed the cursed ground. Ain't no heaven begging me, but I ain't begging back tonight. I take the weight, take the sin, take the cut that set me right. And if the world stays dark, that's fine, I'll still walk by my own choice. 'Cause death spoke quiet, but living became my voice. He hit that county line about 4 a.m. Fog's hitting heavy on the ground. Road signs gone light, they got scared, even the crickets killed their sound. Blueprints swallowed up in white, jacket soaked with ghost town rain. Whiskey smoke and last year's sins all wrestling in his veins. He dropped down slow on both his knees, gravel cutting through his jeans. Didn't bow like a broken dog, just stared into the in-between. Said if there's nothing left to see, then what the hell is left of me? Fog leaned in like a living thing, breathing right on every plea. He muttered, Lord, you still back there? Wind replied, stand up if you dare. Cross on his neck felt cold as steel. Gun at his hip made the whole night real. They say the path appears only when you rise without seeing it first. When you stand up blind in the thick of the dark and you walk like it's blessed or cursed. He was knee-deep lost in a sea of ghosts, but his spine still chose to lean on the side of faith in a road he felt, not a road that could be seen. 'Cause the fog don't test your eyes, boy, it's there to test your knees. It don't care what prayer you say, it cares how hard you bleed. The world won't move for a man laid down in his own disease. It only splits like a haunted gate for the ones who rise from their knees. There was a woman once in a neon town, wild like fire under rain. She loved the sinner more than the man, fed the fever, stoked the stain. He traded Sundays for smoky bars, traded grace for loaded dice. Woke up with a Bible on his chest and a heart carved out nice. Now every drop of that sick old love sat in his throat like lead and dust. He saw her face in the fog that night, full of hunger, full of rust. She laughed, you really think you're clean just 'cause you're crawling on this road? So he cut his palm on a roadside stone and let that red confession flow. He drew a crooked cross in mud, thumb mixing blood with dirt and dew. Said if I gotta walk this out, I'll walk it carrying all of you. Fog wrapped round him like a curse, then answered in a breath so slight. Stand up, boy, you want away, you better earn your right. He pushed his hands against his thighs, said I'm done living half a lie. Devil smirked in the smoking trees. Guy stayed quiet, but he felt at ease. They say the path appears only when you rise without seeing it first. When you bet your breath on a road you trust, not a map to quench your thirst. He stood up slow with a busted grin, legs shaking but soul carved lean. And the fog pulled back like an old gray curtain on a road he'd never seen. 'Cause the fog don't test your eyes, boy, it's built to test your knees, to find out what stays standing when you're stripped of guarantees. The world won't open gates for men who beg the dark to lead. It only clears for the stubborn hearts who rise and choose to bleed. I found myself out past the county ridge, moon hanging low like a broke down sign. Dirt on my boots, smoke in my chest, steel on my palm, drawing one thin line. Sworn I'd die with the last damn star, let my blade sink deep into the ground. In this road with a quiet breath, leave my name where it couldn't be found. But right when steel kissed dirt that night, the sky flared up like a dare thrown down. That star blinked once, blinked twice, blinked thrice, like it knew I'd try to drown. And I laughed, tired, rough, but proud, with that outlaw grin I can't unlearn. Said some lights rise again, just to show you still got miles to burn. Shot back, stand up and see. Cross on my neck, went cold as bone. Sword in my grip felt like a tone. If a star outlasts your threat, boy, then maybe you ain't built to fall. Maybe heaven's trying to tell you that dying cheap ain't worth the call. I raised that blade instead of falling. Felt the fire up in my chest. Realized the world don't answer me, those who rise and rest. If the night lights up when you're bowing out, that's the sky refusing no. Saying men like you don't get to quit just cause the road turned cold and slow. Some lights rise again, that's true. Not to save you from your scars, but to prove the fight inside you still burns brighter than the stars. Like river stones, pockets sagging with every crime. Shot a man who drew too quick, loved a girl who couldn't stand my mind. Every ghost I'd buried deep stood in that fog like a frozen quad. Every one of them staring back, feeding shame to my desire. So I stabbed that sword into the dirt, let a drop fall from my cut palm. A ritual for the man I was, the broken one, the false and calm. Blood soaked down like a whispered prayer, thin and red like a newborn flame. I growled, if you want me, walking star, then you better call my name. And the star flashed back across the dark, as if to say, get up, restart. I wiped the blood across my face, said I'll rise, but I won't erase. Devil smirked, leaning on the breeze. God stayed quiet, but eased my knees. If a star outlasts your threat, boy, then you were never meant to fall. You were meant to test the night, not run from every shadow's call. I raised that blade like a broken hymn, with a grin that cut like steel. And the road lit up beneath my boots, just to prove my choice was real. If the night still answers back when you threaten it with your end, then the dark ain't done with you, it wants you standing up again. Some lights rise again, that's right, just to show what fire remains. And I walked on with the stubborn heart, still burning through my stains. And if the sky stays cold tonight, that's fine, I don't lose my flame. Cause that star rose 3 damn times just to dare me to rise the same. I've been hitting that concrete wall till my knuckles split and turn to mud. Sweat run down like prison rain, mixing rust with my choke-thick blood. It was thin, but my rage was thick. Every breath felt racing raw, like the Lord himself was watching close to see what kind of man he saw. I swung again and fell flat down, cheek pressed cold against the floor. Didn't cry, didn't beg, just look at that wall like I've been here before. Said if you're waiting for me to fall, you're dumber than the men I shot. And the dust stirred up like it heard me cuss, like a room remember what I'm not. I whispered, God, you testing me. Walls apply, stand up and see. Chain on my wrist felt cold as bone. Fist still shaking, but my will stood strong. When your will hits harder than your fist, walls break, that's how it goes. It ain't muscle that wins the night, it's the fire you never show. I stared that stone down like a judge, ready to deny my breath. And right when I refused to bow, that wall cracked under my desk. Yeah, when you stand back up with nothing left, the world feels that quake you make. Cause a man who's done with giving up is a man you just don't break. When your heel hits harder than your fist, you hear the whole damn prison shake. I remember nights before the sale, running wild with a black hat grin. Loved a woman who loved my scars, hated the man I kept within. I lost a name in a barroom fight, lost my soul in a courthouse light. But the worst was staring at myself, not the sentence, but the sight. So I pressed my head against that crack, felt the stone breathe like it knew. I cut my thumb on jagged edge, let one red drop say something true. A ritual for the filth I made, a vow for the man I learned again. Said if you want me broken, wow, you'll have to fight harder than sin. And the crack crept wider in the dark, as if to growl, get it up, restart. Hard, I lean my back against that stone, said I walk out on my own. Devil smirked in the iron door, God stayed quiet like before. When your will hits harder than your fist, walls break, that's law, not luck. You can bury men in concrete rooms, but their fire still claws back up. I rose with blood on busted hands, with breath that scraped like desert air. And that wall split open just enough to prove I still was there. Yeah, the world don't bow for the soft or scared, it moves for the ones who rise, for the men who gamble their broken bones just to keep their damn pride alive. When your will hits harder than your fist, even stars how to shake. And I walked forward through that crack with more left in me than I thought could break. He walked that stone-cut county road with a lantern holding on by threads. Wind like bullets in his coat, cold rain batting at his hands and head. Old man's boots sank in the mud, every step a prayer half spent, calling out his runaway son, voice cracked but iron bent. That lantern shook like a dying heart, flame crawling low like it gave up too. He cupped his hand around his glass, said, boy, I'm coming back for you. Thunder answered like like a judge. Lightning scraped across the sky, and the flame bent sideways in the wind, like it didn't want to die. He growled, "Oh, don't take this light." Storm spat back, "Stand up and fight." Cross on his chest felt cold as dead. Lantern flickered like regret. Some lights burn strongest when fed by your will. Not all that's truth he found. He shouted fire into that storm, and the flame rose off the ground. When the wind tried killing the hope he held, he fed it breath and bone, and that lantern drank his will so deep it burned like it was grown. Yeah, the night don't bow for a man who quits or chokes on his own fear, but it splits for men who scream not yet when the dark is leaning near. Some lights don't live on oil alone, they live on the soul you give, and that flame showed teeth in the heart of storm, proving he still had something to live. He remembered nights he failed that boy, too drunk to hear him close the door. Slammed his fist through a Bible page, let guilt drip down on the wooden floor. He spent a lifetime running from the man he feared he'd always be, till the storm gave him one last chance to stand or drown in what he'd flee. Rain cut lines across his face like old scars waking up again. He held that lantern to his mouth, breathed flame like a wild amen. He said, "If breath is all I got left now, then breath is what I bleed." And the lantern fled like a living beast, feeding on his need. Then the wind broke sudden through the trees, like the storm itself fell to its knees. He raised that light into the rain, said, "Boy, I'll take on all this pain." Devil laughed in the thunder's grin. God stayed quiet but leaned within. Some lights burn strongest when fed by your will. Not all that's how it goes when you pour your breath into something small, till it burns through night and blows. He walked that road with the flame twice born, with a hope he'd sworn off years, and the storm split open a path ahead, carved out by his blood and tears. Yeah, the night don't open for cowards praying quietly to be spared. It opens for men who give their breath to something they once feared. Some lights rise up like a second heart when the world turns cold and rough, and he followed that flame through the breaking storm, 'cause he finally felt enough. And if you ask what kept him moving through a night that meant him death, it wasn't oil that lit his way, it was the fire born from his breath. It was past midnight in that busted shop, rain hitting tin like a warning drum. I said my daddy watch on the table slow, felt every damn year I'd run from. Tools lay scattered like broken vows, grease crawling deep in every line, and I muttered, "Hell, I can't fix this," like the truth finally matched the grind. My hands are shaking from too much loss from the man I swore I'd never be. Whiskey ghosts leaning in my ear like they own what's left of me. I bowed my head, said soft, I quit. Breath thick, heavy, cold, and that tiny gear spun on its own like it heard what my weakness told. I whispered, "Lord, you're playing me." Gear replied, "Stand up and see." Cross on my neck felt cold as blame, hands still trembling but not the same. Feeling broken gears move again, and so should the man who built them true. If the things you swore were dead still fight, what's that say about you? I watched that piece of iron breathe like damn sure ain't dying here. I remembered all them nights with him. My old man bent over clocks and parts. Said some machines are just like men, they live and die by the stubborn hearts. But I'd run from there, from every lesson, traded skill for fights and sin. Let my temper kill good work, let guilt carve hollows in my skin. So I took that watch back in my palms, cut my thumb on a jagged wheel, let a drop fall down like a vow reborn, warm and sharp and real. Blood hit metal like a spark of dawn, thin red arc on silver bone. And I growled, if you're still moving gear, I ain't leaving you alone. Then the gear spun twice, just once more, like it whispered, be the man you swore. Across the face, said I'll rise, I know my place. Devil laughed in the hum of steel, God stayed quiet, but felt damn real. If even broken gears move again, then so should the hands that forged them right. If a dead machine can wake from dust, then a man can stand and fight. Sure can too. And as that watch clicked once in the dead of night, I knew I'd rise again, not because the gear had moved, but because it told me why I should. Midnight dirt was cold as steel, moon hanging crooked on the ridge. I took my shovel to that hill, ready to end it near the bridge. Ground gave easy in the first few swings, soft like it pitied what I choose. But deeper down it turned to stone, like the earth refused to let me loose. Sweat ran hot on my busted jaw, breath fogging up the broken night. I snarled, come on, take me in, but the dirt just pushed back tight. Then the blade hit rock hard. Cruel sent sparks like devils in the air, sounded like the world itself saying, boy, don't you even dare. I growled, Lord, you mocking me? Rock replied, stand up and see. Cross on my chest felt cold as sin, and still shaking but fire crept in. If the earth won't take your body, then take the road it marks instead. If the grave you chose won't open, then maybe you ain't meant for dead. I watched that shovel scrape a line, arrow carved across the stone, and right then I knew the night wasn't mine to die alone. Yeah, the dirt don't bow for quitters, digging holes to hide their shame, but it cracks for men who hit rock bottom and rise back up the same. If the earth won't take your body, it's telling you to live your name. I spent years running from myself, drowning in smoke and busted fights. Loved a woman who loved my ruin, hated the man I was at nights. Made promises with broken hands, left them rusting on the floor. Let sin stack up like debts unpaid, no preacher could ignore. So I slammed that shovel one last time, knuckles bleeding, breathing fire. Watch the metal skid hit across the rock, drawing truth I didn't desire. I touched that arrow with my thumb, let a drop stain down the line. A little ritual for the man I lost, the one I swore I'd realign. And the ground hum low beneath my knees, like it whispered, get up, leave. I wiped my blood across my face, said hell, I won't die in this place. Devil smirked in the silent hill, God stay quiet, but felt damn real. If the earth won't take your body, then take the road it marks instead. If the grave you dug says not tonight, then you were never meant for death. That arrow cut through stone and doubt, pointed straight where dawn would break. And I knew the hill was telling me, walk on, boy, you ain't a mistake. Yeah, the world don't soften for cowards tired of breathing through their scars. It opens for the ones who rise, guided by rough bloody stars. If the earth won't take your body, then you take the road instead. And let the night that tried to bury you wash the man it built instead. That saddle down the hill, leather hitting dirt like a broken nose. Bottle shaking in his hand, breath heavy, heartbeat slow and low. Boots sunk deep in the dried out dust, shirt torn open at the seams. Man looked like the ghost of someone he used to be in younger dreams. He leaned against a sunburned stone, muttered, hell, I'm done for good. Whiskey burning in his chest like guilt from all he never understood. Now wind kicked across the ridge, tapped the saddle once or twice, and the damn thing rolled itself upright like it carried its own device. He cried, Lord, you playing tricks. Wind replied, stand up, don't quit. Cross on his chest, felt cold as shame. Boots still muddy, but spirit aflame. When your saddle stands without you, it ain't done carrying your name. Ain't no ground built strong enough to bury what you overcame. Instead, that leather ghost upright and felt a shift he couldn't fake. Like the world itself was telling him, right on, boy, you didn't break. Yeah, man can fall to his knees from guilt, from sin, from what he's seen. But the night rises up around the ones who still stand up between. When your saddle stand without you, they're saying you were built to lean. He remembered nights he chased wild love, a woman firebone and fierce. Her voice like smoke, a touch like flame, a goodbye sharp enough to pierce. He lost himself in every town, every fist fight, every lie, till the man he was got buried shallow underneath a faded sky. So he grabbed that saddle by the horn, cut his knuckles on a rusty nail, let one drop fall to the dust, the blood oath on a crooked trail. Rain began to spit like judgment thrown from clouds too tired to cry. And he whispered to the empty dark, I ain't laying down to die. Then the saddle creaked as if alive, like it said, come on board, revive, revive. He wiped that dirt across his face, said, I ain't dying in this place. Devil smirked in a rattling brush, God stayed silent, but gave a hush. When your saddle stands without you, it ain't uncarrying your name. It's a sign stand up just the same. And as he placed that leather on his back, boots heavy on the stone, he knew the night refused his grave. 'Cause the road still called him home. Up yet in that prison yard, sky gray like a worn out bruise, cold dirt crawling under my knees, chains dragging around like bad old news. I knelt down slow with a busted breath, said hell I'm done, just lay me low. Figured the ground would take me in, figured no one would tell me no. But the moment I let my body fall, metal snapped like a waking beast. Iron teeth bit into my skin, pulled tighter every inch I seized. I snarl, come on, let me die, but the chain climbed hard on my spine, like I knew the coward in my chest and refused to let me align. I muttered, God, you punish me. Chain replied, stand up and see. Cross on my chest, felt cold as fate. Legs near buckled but wouldn't break. Some chains punish you more for kneeling than for fighting back again. Some ways don't want you dead, they want you standing through the pain. I felt that than it ever did closed eye. Yeah, the dirt don't welcome men who quit or lay down with their sins, but it shifts for those who drag their ghosts and still refuse to bend. Some chains teach louder than the law. They crush you till you live again. I run from every truth I carved, drank through blood I didn't know. Lost a woman I should have held, killed a man for a debt I never owed. All that weight sat deep inside, rattling around like a guilty drum, till I thought the only road left for me was going quiet, cold and numb. So I pushed my palms in the dirt once more, tried to sink where the shadows feed, but the chain jerked hard across my ribs like it refused to watch me bleed. I cut my thumb on a link of rust, let a red drop fall in the dust. A ritual for the man I was, for the part of me I still could trust. And the chain hung low against my chest like it whispered, rise, do the rest. I wiped that blood across my jaw, said alright, I'll stand, that's law. Devil laughed in a razor wind, God stay quiet but lean within. Some chains punish you more for kneeling than for fighting through the night. They don't loosen for the ones who fall, they tighten until you fight. I rose with breath like smoke and steel, with legs still shaking under strain. But every inch I forced upright felt like I broke one link of pain. Yeah, the world don't open gates for men who beg the dark for rest. It shifts for those who rise back up with fire carved in their chest. Some chains ain't meant to bury you, they're meant to drag you to your feet. So the man you're scared to become finally gets to breathe and beat. And when that iron settled loose at last, I knew what it meant for me. I ain't the kind they're waiting to bury, I'm the kind they chain, till I learn to rise free. I hid myself inside a busted church, roof cracked open like a wounded sky. Dust making ghosts in every beam where old hymns came to die. I dropped down under the bell tower's bone, hands like tied against the cold. Said, hell, I'm done, I ain't got words left in me worth being told. Night wind slides through broken panes, stirred dead leaves across the floor. My breath kept fogging in the dark like a sin I couldn't ignore. I leaned my head against a stone, felt the weight I couldn't outrun, then muttered, if someone still needs me, speak now, I'm already undone. I whisper, God, you hear me? Silence growls, stand up and see. Cross on my chest felt cold as blame. Heartbeat slow, then burst a flame. When the silence rings back at you, it ain't asking what you choose. It's driving you into the dark to fix the things you let loose. That bell rang out through the broken night, long, low, carved in steel. It shook the dust right off my guilt and the lies I tried to kill. Yeah, the world don't call your name for comfort or for rest. It calls you when you're drowning deep and tells you stand up, do your best. When the silence rings back at you, it don't ask, it lays you to your test. Fire once baptizing men with words and truth, till I lost the soul I swore to save. A boy too young, too raw, too roof. Blame myself till the mirror crack, drown sermons in a bottle's bite. Told the Lord he picked the wrong damn man to carry any kind of light. So I stood beneath that hanging bellow rope, right afraid and torn, but the metal groaned like a waking beast, like the church itself was reborn. I pressed my thumb into the rust, let a drop of blood mark where I've been. A ritual for the man who fell, a vow to rise again from sin. And the bell swung once with a thunderous breath, like it whispered, rise, not yet. I wiped that blood across my coat, said alright, I'll stay afloat. Devil laughed in the hollow pew, God stayed quiet, but felt damn true. When the silence rings back at you, it ain't begging you to pray, it's ordering you back to fight what you've been running from all day. That bell rolled out like a second heart, like a judge that wouldn't bend, and the road outside that falling church felt like it waited for my step again. Yeah, you don't rise because you're holy, you rise because you're needed still, cause the dark don't answer cowards kneeling, it answers stubborn will. When the silence rings back at you, you stand, you don't pretend. As that bell faded in the wind, deep and rough as a broken vow, I knew the night drafted me again, not to save my soul, but to use me here and now. You stood out front that rusted gate, the moon hanging low like a tired eye. Wind crawled through dead branches slow, making sounds that didn't wanna die. Your hand wrapped tight round iron bars, knuckles pale as forgotten prayers. You mutter, this stands behind me now, like you could bury all your layers. You pulled that gate near off his hinge, ready to slam your past shut tight, ready to leave that haunted yard locked somewhere deep in the dead of night. But the moment you turn your back to run, boots crunching gravel like retreat, that gate swung wide with a hungry groan, like it dared you come complete. You whispered, God, you wanted me, when reply, turn round and see. Cross on your neck felt cold as truth. Steps got heavy, like they knew. If the gate opens towards you, walk through and on what haunts your soul. Ain't no running from the shadows you fed, they follow till you make them whole. You can leave 1,000 times, but the dark don't lose your name. And the silence on the other side ain't quiet, it's where you rise or break. Yeah, the world don't heal the ones who flee their ghosts until they fade. It heals the ones who step back in and face the mess they made. If the gate swings open towards you, that's your call, not your escape. You walk that yard like a crime scene's ghost dirt, still holding years of hurt. Saw the window where she once called your name, saw the blood dried in the dirt. You felt your throat burn up with truth, the kind you spent half a life to drown. And all the nights you blamed yourself came marching back from the broken ground. So you cut your thumb on the metal frame, let one drop fall where your shadow lay. A small red vow to the man you were, to the one you swore you'd face today. You said if something in here's still mine, then none to let it chase. And the gate creaks off like an answer breathe from someplace lost in grace. And the yard felt quiet like holding breath, like it whispered claim was left. You wiped that blood across your jaw, said fine, I'll walk through it all. Devil grinned in the rattling weeds, God stayed still but matched your speed. If the gate opens towards you, walk through and on what haunts you still. You don't get free by running off, you get free by climbing uphill. The past ain't dead, it waits inside, sitting quiet till you choose. And the only way to break its grip is to face the fear you bruise. Yeah, the night won't part for cowards who keep turning from their truth. It's shift for those who drag the scars back in like something they refuse. If the gate swings open towards you, it ain't warning, it's your cue. Stepped across that threshold, breath sharp like a heated blade. You knew the dark wasn't there to claim you. It was there. It watched you finally stay.